So my name is Clarissa Sowemimo-Coker and I'm the CEO of Oxford Cannabinoid Technologies. We're a biotech company listed on the main market in London, on the London Stock Exchange, and on the OTC markets in the US. We're dedicated essentially to developing prescription cannabinoid medicines for the multi-billion US dollar global pain market, aiming to bring non-addictive medicines to people living with chronic pain every day, which either is unresolved by its current treatment or is resistant to current treatment. Many of those patients become dependent on opioids and their widely known consequences. In the US in 2020 alone, there were an estimated 60,000 opioid-related deaths. So there's an urgent need for new, licensed and effective treatments in that space. As we all know, people have self-medicated with cannabis for many, many years for many different types of conditions, including pain, but there's currently not enough robust scientific and clinical data to either support the wide use of cannabis for chronic pain or for it to be approved by national healthcare systems. That's what we're doing here at OCT. So we're undertaking research, development, clinical trials, which will provide the evidence that regulators need to approve our new cannabinoid medicines for use. That means that doctors will be able to prescribe cannabinoids with confidence, giving people suffering from chronic pain a safe, efficacious, and non-addictive alternative to opioids. Cannabinoids themselves are the compounds just found in the cannabis plant that have been shown to have a range of therapeutic effects on the body, including pain relief, of course. And the advantage of our approach, the pharmaceutical approach to cannabinoids rather than a medicinal cannabis approach, is that our medicines will be tested through robust clinical trials approved by national medicines regulators such as the FDA in the US or the EMA in the EU or indeed the MHRA here in the UK. That means that we'll be able to make evidence-based efficacy and safety claims about our medicines, and then they can also then be prescribed by doctors to target specific indications. We're looking here at OCT at both large and orphan indications, with IP protection, of course, and that all-important market exclusivity. We've got 4 active drug development programs and a library of almost 500 proprietary cannabinoid compounds to support our future pipeline. Our portfolio approach aims to balance the risk and value and time to market, and we'll be developing each of those compounds for multiple indications to maximize the benefit of our assets. We're focusing at the moment, of course, on chronic pain conditions, including rare diseases, but that extensive library of almost 500 compounds will provide us the opportunity to widen that focus out into other therapeutic areas, perhaps such as oncology in the future. We've got a great board and management team. We received MHRA approval for our first clinical trial within 2 years of listing on the LSE, and we aim to have our first medicine on the market within 5 years. The global pain market at the moment is valued at about £60 billion, and by a first launch is expected to be growing to £75 billion. So sector-wise, I'd say the key investment case, or rather the thing that investors are most interested in from a biotech perspective, is the high growth potential and the sort of significant returns that you can make on your investment. It's a real high potential area. It's also, of course, a sector of innovation, so it can be hugely exciting, and I'm certainly very excited to be involved in the research and development of new therapies for patients with unmet needs, so solving real problems for real people. And people often actually get involved in this sector for personal reasons, having witnessed somebody, a loved one perhaps, live with a condition, for instance. Biotech's also got some favourable demographic trends in its corner. So, the rising prevalence of chronic disease, growing and ageing populations, means that there's increasing demand for new therapies, and the market size is just growing all the time. For example, the compound annual growth rate for our lead indication, chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy, is 6.4%, and that's on an existing market size of almost £2 billion. Of course, it's a global market, so biotech touches the world globally, so there's a significant opportunity for M&A, for partnerships, for licensing deals, very deal-rich environment. Large pharma companies are always seeking out smaller biotechs to either license assets, for example, the recent deal that therapeutics did with Lilly, which is a really royalty-rich deal, or acquire companies. We'll all be aware, I'm sure, of the acquisition by Jazz Pharmaceuticals in 2021 of GW Pharma for about $7 billion US. So deal-rich environment. And of course, you've got those regulatory milestones from a biotech perspective, which de-risks the assets as we progress through the milestones and therefore increases valuations without dilution for existing investors. So here at OCTP, we firmly believe that our competitive advantage is quite unique. So biotech is inherently high risk, high reward. We all know that. But here at OCTP, we're working with cannabinoids. So, we all know that human beings have been consuming cannabinoids safely for thousands of years. And therefore, we believe that the risk of failure at an early stage of any of our assets, phase 1 safety, or even later on phase 2 efficacy, is much lower than a competitor who'd be working with a different input. So that's a key differentiator for us. We also, of course, benefit from IP, patent and regulatory protection. We've got a derivative library of almost 500 compounds that's exclusive. It already includes over 14 patent families. Our lead program, 461201, is patent protected. That gives it 20 years market exclusivity. Our secondary program, 130401, that's targeting an orphan indication, so we'll get regulatory exclusivity. So we're really covering all the bases in terms of protections there. We're also a small team, so we're agile, we can adapt, we react, pivot, refocus whenever the need arises, and we're operating a virtual model, so keeping our overheads low and leveraging our global network of world-leading CROs such as Evotech and Charles Rivers, to name a couple, to really focus that spend on the value accretive R&D that we're proud to be doing.